No Devin Neal, no DJ Giddens, and for the sake of this conversation, no Luke Grimm, who just took one to the house this past weekend for the Los Angeles Chargers in preseason. This is going to be a brand new Sunflower Showdown. This one's in Lawrence, but will it be a brand new outcome? That's the biggest question here. Can KU finally break the streak of getting a win? Thought it might happen last year. It looks like that was very close. I mean, Lance Leipold says that they let this one get away from him. A lot of thoughts here on this one as we are still months away from this game. Obviously, the football season's starting, but it's never too early to talk about one of the greatest rivalries in at least the state of Kansas, no doubt about that. But of course, the Midwest, the Sunflower Showdown should be a really fun one, Derek.
It should be. I mean, the last 2 years have been great games. So now, great. I have PTSD from both games. You probably do not, but they've both been objectively great games. I feel so bad that Devin Neal didn't get to win in this rivalry, but, just too many mistakes by KU. And that's the thing that I think is most frustrating from the KU side. It feels like every time KU plays K-State, like I swear K-State could come in with the 130th best special teams in the country and be last in the country in penalties or whatever. Kansas is going to make the dumb penalties. Kansas is going to make the dumb turnovers. Kansas is going to make the dumb special teams plays. Like, it doesn't matter. It is just, there's some curse going on for KU in this game that makes it that way. So I do think Kansas has a great shot at winning the game. New stadium, playing at home, playing off a bye week. Now K-State's also off a bye, so that gets neutralized a little bit there. But you've been so close the last 2 years, and you do have that chip on your shoulder. You do have that edge. At the same point in time, this might piss off some KU fans who are watching this. It's not that I don't think Kansas can win. I think they absolutely can. I'm just not going to pick it. Like, I'm somebody who wants to ride with the hot streak. I don't want to be the guy that when Nick Saban was at Alabama, hey, they're going to miss the playoff this year. Like, I'm going to ride the hot streak. So from that standpoint, it's just very hard for me to actually pick KU to beat K-State until I see it with my own eyes.
Hey, South Carolina finally beat Clemson in Death Valley, but it just took 40 games for it to happen.
I hope it doesn't take that long. I hope it doesn't.
So, hey, look, I'm right with you. I think that you talk about anxiety. I mean, when Chris Tennant was kicking that field goal, I mean, I was holding my breath. So there's no doubt about that. There's definitely anxiety in this series, even though you've won 15, 16 times. So when I look at your schedule, though, and this is something that's important. And of course, the bye week for both the teams, I think that's impressive as well. Chris Klieman doesn't have the best record coming out of bye weeks for the record. It's not good. It's like 500. That's about it. So something to keep in mind on that one. But when you look at this, you got a lot of tough games on your schedule before Kansas State. So you should be tested. Chris Klieman said last year that you were the best 2-5 team in the country heading into that game, and you really proved it. You truly did. You proved that you could stick up with a team that was, of course, 6-1 at the time before everything happened with Kansas State. When you look at the schedule heading into the game in Lawrence against the Wildcats, where do you expect them to be? Like, do you expect them to be better than 2-5? Do you expect them to be more on a front runner for the Big 12? Like, where's your mindset for that game heading into the game against the Wildcats?
Yeah, so I think you look at the non-con for KU and you go, okay, 2-1 would be a very fair record. Like, Fresno State is a game that you're favored to win, but it wouldn't be shocking if you lost the game. You look at the Missouri game, you're probably going to be underdogs. Missouri has one of the best defenses in the country. You're playing them on the road. So let's say you go 2-1. If you go 3-0, great. But let's say you go 2-1, you should beat Wagner. Then you look at the start of Big 12 play. The beauty of being week 0, this goes for K-State too, you get that extra bye week in there. And that bye week comes right before the start of Big 12 play. Kansas should have beat West Virginia last year. They beat them a couple years before. They were up by 10 with like 4 minutes to go and they blew the game. You get them at home this year, new coach who I do think Rich Rod is a really good coach for West Virginia, but it's the early part of their tenure, a lot of new transfers. Maybe you're getting them at a good time of the season. You look at Cincinnati, you look at UCF coming up in the schedule. You look at the at Texas Tech game, like that UCF and at Texas Tech. Can you split one of the two? Can you take care of your 2 home games with West Virginia and Cincinnati? I don't think it's unreasonable to come into that K-State game saying, could you be a 2-loss team? Or at the very worst, be a 3-loss team. I think that's kind of reasonable. Be in that 2 to 3 loss range. And if you are in a situation where, let's say you do only have 1 loss, like you find a way to, upset either at Missouri or at Texas Tech or something like that, then all of a sudden maybe we are talking this KU K-State game as maybe it's an Arlington preview or something. But I think realistically, 2 or 3 losses coming into that game, you would feel comfortable with where you are as KU tries to get on the quest back to being bowl eligible.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being 2-5 heading into that game last year, and then there's a really solid chance that you're 5-2. Flip that around, 5-2 heading into that matchup against Kansas State this year. That's what I see as well. Who would you rather lose to? This is fun. Who would you rather lose to? You got to go on the road to Mizzou. One of the craziest rivalries, right? Like, that's such. You guys hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
You hate each other. K-State, KU have a rivalry. There's no doubt about that. But the Mizzou KU rivalry is something insane. Would you rather lose to Mizzou if you had to pick, or would you rather lose and continue the streak against Kansas State?
Yeah. So like you said, I mean, as much as Kansas State is a rivalry, it's a sports rivalry. Kansas, Missouri is a real life, like Missourians were burning down. I mean, Kansas and Kansas State fans, theoretically, like 150 years ago, they were on the same side, you know, in the Civil War and stuff like that. Right. So it's a little bit different with the Kansas, Missouri, just from that perspective. I mean, there's families like murdering each other. So from that perspective, you would think my answer would be Kansas, Missouri. It actually is Kansas State this year. If Kansas had lost 16 straight to Missouri, there's something close. Or Missouri was still in the Big 12, maybe, where it counted as a conference game as well. Or maybe you were still playing them every year, like this is your first time playing them in over a decade, and you had that awesome win over them in 2009. If this was that, I would say Missouri, because historically it is KU's biggest rival. But K-State's beaten you 16 straight times. They're also still a rival. They're in the conference with you. And beyond that, it's what we talked about earlier, like that in-state recruiting. I mean, you got to start getting results in this game. And for Lance Leipold, like he's done so much with this KU program from where it was. That remains one of those things where it's like you got to check this off the list. You have to start beating your rival at least, you know, semi-consistently. And from that perspective, with how close the last 2 years was, yes, I would love to win in Columbia. I would love to beat Missouri. And that, in most years, in a vacuum, yes, you would take that above any other game. But because of the context around the KU K-State rivalry and where it's been, I would actually prefer to beat K-State than beat Missouri this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel that. I feel the feeling. All right. Well, last thing before we go here, you can't use Jalon Daniels holding on to the football because I feel like that's a scapegoat. But if Kansas is going to beat Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown this year, it is because...
Yeah, I mean, a lot. Could I just take all holding onto the football? Jalon Daniels, Trevor Wilson, drop punt, Rich Miller dropping the interception. Too many, but no. I think in all honesty, like I'm very curious to see what this defense looks like. New coordinator DK McDonald in terms of stopping dual threat quarterbacks, because that is something under Brian Borland, the first 4 years of Lance Leipold era, they did not do a good job of stopping rushing dual threat quarterbacks. This doesn't just go for K-State; it goes for all the teams they were playing. What does that look like? Can you contain Avery Johnson in terms of on the ground where maybe he has 40 yards rushing instead of like 100, that would be one thing. The other thing is, just play mistake-free football, because to me, that's been kind of the biggest difference. K-State tends to be locked in a little bit more, or I don't know what reason it is, right? Whether it is more focused, whether it is more motivated, whether it is just, I don't know, the fundamentals being taught that week, or whatever it is. It just seems like they're more locked in. It seems like they make less mistakes, and that usually ends up being the difference, those 1 or 2 extra Kansas mistakes at the end.
Kansas State, Kansas taking on the Sunflower Showdown. We'll see if it happens. That one's in Lawrence on October 25th. As for week 0, both these teams are in action. First game of the season, Iowa State, Kansas State. That'll be at 11 o'clock Central, the first game of the college football season. As for KU, you're taking on Fresno State in Lawrence, and that one's 5:30 kickoff, I believe. Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot.
So you can watch
on
both.
Fox as well. Yeah, you can watch both. ESPN for the Kansas State game, Fox for the KU game. So plenty of exciting stuff coming at you this Saturday. Derek, we made it. How exciting is that?
Oh man, I swear those last couple of weeks, once you get to like August, especially, you're like, you get to a Saturday or Sunday, you're like, where's the football? I turn on the TV. Where is it? So super excited.
Make sure you check out Locked On Jayhawks, Locked On Kansas State. Lots of coverage coming at you this week, making sure you're getting ready for the games ahead. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And this has been a Locked On College crossover of Locked On Jayhawks and Locked On Kansas State.